I want to bring in now White House Senior Advisor for Strategic Communications, Mercedes Schlapp, is with us. Mercedes, thank you for being along on this historic day. The president has said that he is willing to work across the aisle. In fact, he worked during the holiday season saying, where is everybody? Come back. I need those Democrats to talk to. How is it going in terms of finding the juicy middle and opening up the government in this partial shutdown?
Look, the president yesterday met with the Big Eight, with both the Democrats and Republican congressional leadership. The Democrats pretty much jumped right in and didn't let Secretary Nielsen give her presentation with the facts of what we're seeing right now as a border crisis. And so, in essence, they came up with their proposal. But their proposal, of course, does not just keeps the funding at $1.3 billion, doesn't go any further, and in essence doesn't do enough. And so the president has asked them to come back tomorrow to basically continue these negotiations. As we know, Harris, at this point, this is going to be the first test for Nancy Pelosi in terms of her leadership. Can she control the radical progressives in her party who want open borders, who want Medicare for all? And then can she successfully negotiate opening up the government? And those are going to be two critical points for Nancy Pelosi as the new speaker.
Yeah, it's interesting for you to point that out. Just moments ago, we had a soundbite from Ocasio-Cortez, who you know is that socialist arm who won here in New York. She's a freshman member now of the House. And she said, quote, Americans need political courage at this point. It'll be a challenge for Nancy Pelosi to go against those types of words flank on the left because they're making it about Americans. I know the words matter.
Well, and political courage also includes ensuring that we keep our communities safe. Secretary Nielsen made a great point yesterday at the presentation where she said that we're not in a status quo situation. We're in a crisis situation. When you look at the facts, our immigration system is overwhelmed. Our Border Patrol agents don't have the resources, they don't have the facilities, and they don't have the legal authority to deal with the onslaught of these illegal aliens crossing our border. We've seen an increase of over 90% of illegal border crossings in the last 2 months. And so she's basically saying, since we aren't in a crisis situation, that we can't allow for just status quo funding. And it is why the president is asking for more border wall funding. And even the Democrats said, look, we want strong border security, so we need to come on board. They need to come and negotiate. They refused our good faith offer. And Nancy really needs to figure out a way, and the Democrat leadership, how they're going to successfully reopen this government and negotiate with the president.
All right. A couple of follows there. Secretary Nielsen says that this is not a status quo situation. This is a crisis. I know from past reporting that executive fiat is something that has been talked about. The president could look at the border as an emergency situation and do something here, albeit it might be more temporary than you would want, but he doesn't necessarily need Congress to do what he needs to do on the border. Is that still factual?
Look, the president has mentioned before that he wants to find ways to ensure that we're able to secure our border and find that funding. But the question right now that we have at hand is how we're going to reopen this government. And this is going to involve a negotiation with Congress. And it's what the president is focused on right now. It's why Vice President Mike Pence and the team went over to the Democrats, gave them a good faith offer. They refused to come back. They're stuck on the $1.3 billion, despite the fact that Nancy Pelosi wants to give more foreign aid money and add about $12 billion over the president's proposed budget on foreign aid. So they're willing to put the needs of foreign nations over the needs of our own citizens and keep our communities safe.
So what I hear you saying in answer to my question is you're not at the point now where he would do like an executive order or whatever that other alternative might be. That's important because if you think you're going to pull that emergency hatch, you're going to negotiate differently. But what's also critical about what you're saying, Mercedes, is that the president is trying to reach across the aisle, and there's one word that is stuck. Would he not use the word wall in any instance?
The president has talked about the physical barriers. He's talked about steel slats, and he's talked about, he's shown, actually these Democrat leaders saw pictures of it. Nancy Pelosi mentioned, well, I don't want to use a concrete wall. And the president came up and said, look, this is what we're putting up in different areas across the border. So again, what's happened is that the Democrats have put forth the $1.3 billion and below figure with a lot of restrictions, not allowing the Department of Homeland Security to prioritize and put up the fencing and the wall where we need to have it across the border.
All right. Just real quickly, on this program, when the president was considering those 6 different prototypes for the wall, the slat system was on that. Like, we had a reporter down there. We featured it. We knew. This is not breaking news in that sense. It's fascinating that Democrats are stuck on that point. But we'll move on. So Democrats may pitch Mercedes to the idea of more and more investigations with the president in the White House. What is the reaction from the White House on that?
Look, the president has made it very clear on the Democrat side. He wants to work on policy. He wants to work on ensuring that we're able to pass the USMCA, the biggest trade deal that we have that the president successfully negotiated. We want to work on infrastructure, invest in our American workers. We want to keep our economy booming with the lowest unemployment rates that we've seen. If the Democrats decide to go down the path of just subpoenas and investigations and continues this distraction, I tell you, the president has said he'll fight back. And I think that that's where his position is on this. And he's going to make sure that what he's going to do is keep working for the American people. If the Democrats go down that losing pathway of just focusing on subpoenas, I think it will hurt them in the long run.
Interesting. We have legal expert, by the way, Alan Dershowitz, joining me in just a few minutes. And he says that there's something that the White House should definitely do at this point. So I encourage our viewers to watch that. I want to thank Mercedes Schlapp of the communications team at the White House. Thank you very much. Good to see you, and Happy New Year.
Thank you, Harris. Happy New Year.